Welcome to the Legacy Conversation.
Welcome to the Legacy Conversation with Jennifer Moore. Jennifer is the owner of Springs Legacy Law, PLLC, where she helps individuals and families in Colorado create clear, practical estate plans and navigate probate with confidence. I'm Shameika Rhymes, and today we're breaking down what actually goes into a basic estate plan in Colorado and what each document is meant to do. Welcome, Jennifer.
Hi, Shameika. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, let's get into it. Jennifer, before we get into the documents themselves, can you share a little bit about your background and what led you to focus on estate planning?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been an attorney since 2014. And I kind of, as I was in law school, knew I wanted to also be a mom at some point in time. And so I focused on estate planning because the schedule freedom was really appealing as I was kind of navigating what my future plans were. Once I became an attorney, I became a mom as well. So I kind of took some time off doing that. And then my first job actually was on the probate side of practice. And there is nothing that teaches you the value of an excellent estate plan faster than navigating the probate world, because you have a tendency to kind of see all the things that have gone wrong and learn what could have been done to make that family's journey a little easier after the death of their loved one. So I've stuck with estate planning, and yeah, it makes me happy to help people out. So
I love that. Well, what are the core pieces that are included in a basic estate plan?
Yeah, absolutely. So all of my estate plans, I like to consider it like a oh no binder. So when something happens to you, everything will be in one place so that your decision makers will have everything they need to step in. So whatever your testamentary vehicle is, so that's either a trust with a pour over will or a will be in there. As well, there's a declaration of disposition of remains. So that's I've passed away. What should happen to my body? Who should be in charge of seeing that out? There's also powers of attorney. Powers of attorney are I'm alive, but I can't make decisions for myself. Who's going to make decisions for me? So there's a healthcare directive or healthcare power of attorney that covers all medical decisions. Then there's also a financial power of attorney, and that basically covers every other decision that anybody's going to have to make during your time of incapacity. Then there's also a living will. So that is if doctors have decided that I'm in a permanently vegetative state, I'm not going to come back, do I want to have artificial hydration and nutrition provided to me? And if so, for how long? And that is pretty much what my binders include. There's also some worksheets, memorials and things like that, or if you want particular items to go to particular people that you can fill out. But those are the legal documents that are covered.
Thank you for that breakdown. So what does a will actually do and what does it not cover?
Sure. So a will is basically whatever I have at the end of my life, with some caveats, goes to who I name in this will. Things that are not covered by wills are things like bank accounts, life insurance policies, investment accounts, retirement accounts, basically anything where you can name a beneficiary. So even if my will says all of my investment accounts go to my daughter, if my son is the named beneficiary on all of my investment accounts, at the time of my death, those accounts are going to go to my son, not my daughter. So it's really important as you kind of start the estate planning journey to think about all your accounts, think about all the beneficiaries you've named, and make sure that those are up to date with your current desires.
Okay. Well, what does a power of attorney allow someone to do, and when does it actually take effect? Because I know you mentioned there were a couple different types.
Powers of attorney, you can either say, I want them to become valid when two physicians have said that I can't make decisions for myself, or you can opt to have a power of attorney be immediately valid. So if you choose the former of those after you have been deemed incapacitated, that's when your power of attorney would take effect. And the agent that you've named would be able to step into your shoes and start making decisions for you. If you choose the latter of the two and say, I want it to be immediately effective, that's a really powerful tool that you should think carefully about, because you're giving that person the right to sign checks for you, make healthcare decisions depending on financial or medical power of attorney immediately.
Well, what is you mentioned this earlier, the healthcare directive, and how is it different from the power of attorney?
Sure. So healthcare directive is the same name basically for a healthcare power of attorney. And healthcare, basically, it covers all of your healthcare decisions, obviously, whereas the general durable power of attorney covers everything else. So that's what the difference is.
So when would you use that? Would you kind of, again, if the doctor said, this is what you have going on, you have X amount of months to live, or how does that work exactly?
Yeah, it's something that you want to create while you have capacity, because once you've lost capacity, you lose that ability to sign legal documents. So you want to do it while you're in good health, so that if there comes a time that it's needed, it already is executed and is just ready to go.
Okay. So now we throw trusts into this. So what role do trust play in an estate plan, and in what situations do they actually make sense?
Absolutely. So trusts are kind of having a hot moment right now in the estate planning world. Trusts, if they are properly funded, will avoid probate. Probate is not particularly onerous in all states. So trusts are not always a good option for everybody because they're significantly more expensive than wills are to set up. Times that trusts are a really good idea is if you own properties in multiple states, or if you anticipate inheriting property in other states. It's a really good idea to set up a trust. Then you can put all those properties into the trust and avoid having to open a probate in every single state where you own property. Another time that a trust is a really good idea is for people of significant value. So there is not a state level estate tax in Colorado. So if the married couple has over $30 million total value, it's a good idea to use trusts because there's advanced tax planning that can go into trusts. I also practice in Washington. There's a state level estate tax there. So a lot of more people fall into the, wow, I should consider a trust category so that they can realize those tax savings.
Okay. So what's the difference between a will and a trust? Because they sound similar, but I know they're not.
Right. Yeah. So a trust is an entity that you own, but you put all of your assets into the trust. I think of a trust kind of as a soup pot. So you pour all of your assets while you're alive into that trust, and then you die. And instead of the will having to go to probate, the successor trustee or the manager of that trust looks at what the trust says should happen to all of your assets, and then they reach into that soup pot and they start doling out your assets according to the trust. A will is basically whatever I own should be split amongst people A, B, and C. So the will goes to court. A judge approves the personal representative or the person you named, and then all assets are just split according to the terms of the will and doled out that way. And then the court signs off on it at the end of the probate.
I love that analogy with the soup because that makes it easy to understand. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So if you were putting together a simple estate plan for a typical family, what would that include and how would it all work together?
Sure. So like I said, all of my estate plans kind of include everything in case something happens. It depends on the level of family. So I kind of consider estate planning, for the most part, most estate planning can fall into 3 different tiers. Mm-hmm. There's a basic will, which is just whatever I have, this is who gets it. Then there's kind of a upper level of will, which has testamentary trusts built into it. This is a really great idea if you have minor children or, maybe adult children that are never going to be able to live on their own. So a will with testamentary trusts says that when I die, if these people are not adults yet or still rely upon me for care, instead of them just getting a check of, whatever their portion of the estate is, it goes into a trust. So the power behind that is you get to name who manages their money for them until they reach a certain age, or if there's ever a point in time that they're able to make their own financial decisions. So you're able to have that additional level of control for people that aren't ready to control funds on their own. And then the third tier of estate planning is a revocable living trust. And that is where you put all your assets, like I went over, and it avoids probate as long as it's properly funded. And those are the 3 tiers of estate planning. Sorry.
Okay. How long does it take to kind of plan that out?
Yeah, so it kind of depends, which is like classic attorney answer. So I try to do like an initial consultation, and then I'll send out a worksheet if you want to work with me. Once I get the worksheet back, we have a design meeting. We go over the worksheet, make sure I know what you want. Then I crank out drafts and give them to you for review. And that's kind of where the depends part really steps in. If you've kind of thought about it and changed your mind, or if there's a lot of things that you want to tweak, then, it will take more time to go back to the drawing board, which is totally fine. But that is where there's the difference in timeline. But usually about a month, I would say, from start to finish. So after that review meeting, you have the choice to either have more review meetings with me if you need to make changes, or we can go ahead and, sign the documents. And at the point you sign them, you leave my office with the documents and you're ready to go. So
well, this was super helpful. Thank you, Jennifer.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Well, that's it for today's episode of The Legacy Conversation with Jennifer Moore. If you're in Colorado and you want to get clear on what an estate plan should look like for your situation, you can learn more or reach out to springslawpllc.com. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to like, leave a review, and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.